Yo, still bills, what's the deal, man? Yo, I got the day off. Came out here to get my weapons permit renewed. I didn't realize it was past due. That bitch been past due for about 2 years now, man. Fuck. Can't go through that, man. Just in case a nigga breaking my crib, I gotta make sure that I'm up to date on all my shit so they don't hit me with nothing. It's hard being a black brother in America. But peep game though, man. We got to get into this shit, man. And like, man, I haven't watched the undercards. I didn't see Andre versus Nicholson. I didn't see Rashidi Ellis versus Roman, and I didn't see Boots Ennis versus Karen, man. But I just, I usually don't speak on shit that I don't see. But it's just entirely too many people telling me, saying, reiterating the same sentiment as it pertains to Boots Ennis, and that's how pedestrian he looked against. I don't even know what to rate this dude as, man. Look, when Johnny Beck had the fight that he had against Denzel Bentley, now granted, both of these dudes, that was both of their first times fighting in a 12-round bout. They had never won 12 rounds. Johnny Beck was elevated to a champion, and his first day under the bright lights, he looked pedestrian in there, and allegedly, when he looked pedestrian, he was the hype job. He was this and that and the third, because we got to stop ordaining people the boogeyman until they've earned that title. I remember when the Golden State Warriors, when they went on their run the year after they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were completely ill-equipped to deal with them because Kyrie and Kevin Love had went down. The following year they came out, all guns blazing. They had to, they won. Well, man, how many games was that they won? They had a 72-win season. It was a wild. No, they had 73-9. My bad. They went 73-9, if I'm not mistaken. And they was just rolling that season, and that just everything. I remember Klay Thompson saying, "Yeah, we here to beat the Showtime Lakers." Now, I don't disagree with that or nothing like that, but in the eyes of a lot of people, that was a blasphemous take. Like, do you not know who the Showtime Lakers was? Are you serious? So it was just, Steph Curry's the best player in the league at this time, and yada, yada, yada. And LeBron, he's like, I still got something to say. You ain't proved it yet. You ain't proved that you're the best in this league, my nigga. You caught me on the humble. So they just had a real mental collapse in that finals where they tricked off a 3-1 lead. It was just bad for them brothers, man. So usually when people are prematurely ordained boogeymen or this or whatever, it's usually a pretty catastrophic climax. And in the Warriors' case, it was a catastrophic climax. And in Boots' case, a catastrophic climax. A lot of people didn't think too much highly of Johnny Beck anyway. Oh man, he ain't fought nobody. He's a Euro bum, even though he's from Asia. He's a Euro bum. He ain't fought nobody. He this and that and the third. Andre don't need to fight him. All right, whatever. But with Boots was automatic. He was ordained the boogeyman before he had even fought anybody. At least Rob Brandt was a former world champion. Boots ain't fought nobody. He's literally fought nobody. And they were ordaining this dude the boogeyman of the division, man. And it's like, yo, okay, what are you coming to this conclusion based off of? And it was based off how he looked against Thomas Delore, man. It was based off how he looked against Custio Clayton, which Custio Clayton I'm not mad at, especially considering that he blasted him out of there in 2 rounds. I'm not mad at that, but it's still like, even with Custio Clayton, how good is Custio Clayton? Going to, fighting to a draw with Sergey Lipinets. How good is a Custio Clayton? I think he's a formidable opponent. He may be on the level of someone like a Jamal James, but an elite within the division, I'm not seeing that at all. Especially going 12 rounds to a decision with Sergey Lipinets. So everybody was just overjoyed about Boots Ennis and how he was looking and this and that and the third. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like, I'm not ready to say that he's better than a lot of the fighters that they're saying. That, like, me personally, I've always thought he does everything better than Spence. He's a far more well-rounded fighter than Spence. But I'm not willing to say that he beats Spence right now. I'm just not willing to do that. Why am I not willing to do that? The degree of competition that you're fighting, the level of competition that you're fighting at. Boots is not Boots, but Spence is a champion, and he's been in there with some good fighters. I'm never gonna say Danny Garcia was a tune-up fighter. I'm not about to say that shit. Danny Garcia was, he just can't, he's just not better than the, than the elites in the division. He's not Porter, he's not Thurman, he wasn't Brook, he's not Bud. He's not them, but he's not a tune-up neither. And for him coming back off of an injury and having that fight, I'm like, yo, that's a good win. Sean Porter, Kell Brook, and now these dudes are somebody, man. These dudes were, these were champions in the division at a point in time. So when you look at a nigga like Boots, who just, mind you, they're comparing this dude to Roy Jones Jr., man. This is why you got to be very mindful of what it is that you say. Roy Jones Jr., you don't want to ordain nobody prematurely, man. I had a nigga telling me that Joe Joyce is the equivalent of George Foreman. When you utter words like that, you have, like, I think that those type of accolades come through trial and tribulation. You have to go through it. You have to fight somebody in order to obtain that type of title. For you to ordain a Joe Joyce, a George Foreman, that is a title that must be earned. He's going to look destructive with who it is that he's fighting. Yeah, because he's not fighting the best. I think Joseph Parker was a good win for him. It was a real good win, considering he knocked him the fuck out. Yeah. Yes. I'm not mad at that. That's a damn good win. But Joseph Parker has been beat before by better. And Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we, this is, what are we doing here? So when you have somebody like Boots who comes into, who comes into prominence, even though he hasn't came into prominence yet, his name is just starting to, get the buzz in. We got to be very careful on what it is that we get, the title that we put, that we bestow on these individuals, because they still have to show and prove. And when they underwhelm, they get lambasted. And then that becomes, oh, well, you hating. It's not hating. I'm just calling it like I see it. For y'all to call this man Roy Jones Jr. and all, he just gonna beat everybody in the division. Like, people, they're mad at me that I'm like, I never thought, I'm not saying that I don't think he beats Ortiz. I've had people tell me, man, Ortiz ain't gonna be able to make them type of adjustments to Boots. Says who? Says who? They both had to fight fleet-footed fighters in their last bouts, bro. And Ortiz stepped on his. Ortiz stepped on his. Boots went 12. Didn't even hurt him from what I'm hearing. Now, Ortiz may have the style that will complement Boots' style a little bit more. Yeah, but Ortiz is proven to be a lot more effective in what it is that he does than what it is that Boots does. He stopped Cavalier-Vasquez. He went and gunned down Michael McKinson, who said, I know what my strong suit is, and I know what my weaknesses are, and I'm not a puncher. So I'm going to go to infinity and beyond to really hone in on my feet and keeping a nice distance between me and you. It wasn't enough. Ortiz went and lifted that man off the ground, bro. What are we talking about? Lifted him. So I'm like, I've been saying that for some time. I'm like, I'm going with Ortiz in the now. And niggas clapped at me. Man, he ain't beating Boots, man. Boots is this and that. All right, cool, whatever the fuck ever. And then, I'm still willing to say, I don't think he beats Thurman. I don't think he beats Thurman. And I feel no type of way about saying that. If you have somebody who's a relatively unknown fighter on a national scale, not even just America, the American market, but just on an international scale, and they're keeping distance between you and him, and he's forcing you to miss big, like embarrassingly big, whiffing the big that when Canelo threw that hook at Mayweather, and Mayweather was like, yo, are you serious? Where'd you throwing that at? That's bad. And the dude had no counter punching, he had no counter punching capabilities or nothing like that. He didn't have the ability to walk you into traps. He didn't have the ability to get in, get out. Imagine what you could do. Imagine what somebody who can punch on the go can do. We can say what we want to say about Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is a very good fighter. Keith Thurman can punch on the go. Keith Thurman can make adjustments on the fly. Everybody is taking the, oh man, he went 12 of Mario Barrios. Yeah, he did. The gloves were bigger. The gloves were bigger. And what, 2 years of inactivity? Yeah, give him that. I understand why somebody would say, man, nah, Thurman is out of there. I get it. I understand it. I won't argue against it to a certain, but I will present another narrative. 2 years of inactivity and 10-ounce gloves. I mean, you gotta. And even with that being said, everybody brags on what Tank was able to do to Mario Barrios. Mario Barrios was able to make it a good fight with Tank to the point where Floyd had to come up to Tank and say, we need a knockout. You losing this fight. Barrios was never in the fight with Thurman. And how he had that, like, he disfigured that man's face. Like the bridge part of your nose, the bridge part of his nose was flat with the rest of his face. That's, you know, it was no competition. So people can say that about Thurman, you dig? And it's understandable, but he's still a really good fighter. He's still a really good fighter. He's still a really good fighter who can fight at all three distances. He's never been, I can't really think of somebody that he had to go on the hunt for. Nobody's really coming to mind off the rip. I've never seen him have to, I can't recall him having to go on the hunt. I honestly can't. But Ennis is going to have to go on the hunt for Thurman. And how do you think that shit is going to play out? So I wasn't sold on him being able to beat Thurman just off rip, just because he was able to deal with Custio Clayton and deal with Sergey Lipinets and Thomas Delorme. I was like, no. And even then, when he, like I said before, when he gets to showboating and you know, really getting into a rhythm or whatever, he starts opening up. And when I say opening up, I mean opening up. Now Keith does it as well, but it's weird. It's a bit different with how Keith opens up. Keith will open up in the sense of, like, it's his timing. He disrupts his own timing. He'll flash the shot, but he'll hold that position to kind of throw you off. So you know, usually when, you know, just when you get in the ring and you gain experience or whatever, you know, you see how your body postures before you let the shot go. So if you see somebody do this, you're feeling like a hook is coming. So, and you know what, you know the power hand of that fighter. So you're automatically, all right, cool. He's coming with the left hook. You know, people who are orthodox don't throw too many right hooks. They'll throw the left. They'll throw a left hook. Let me weave to my left, or weave to my, you know, let me weave to my right. You know what I'm saying? You do that. So when you know what a motherfucker's finna throw. You know what a motherfucker's finna throw, and you know you have to get ready to to defend yourself against the shot. So as soon as he opens up, you're automatically going into going into motion on defending yourself. Thurman opens up and flashes the shot, but he doesn't pull the trigger until like that split second. So you don't know when the shot is coming. So in that moment you can catch Thurman. In that moment you can catch him, but you have to be quick on the trigger to catch him in that moment. That's where Jaron Ennis, he gets flashy, he gets real, like his, because it's like, yo, I have no, I'm not worried about it. You're not hitting me you're not getting me anything to worry about. So I'm gonna throw this uppercut from the floor, from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? They're a little bit different in how they go about opening up. But I've noticed that in Jaron Ennis, I was like, yo, he opens up a little too much. That could be a problem if you're in front of somebody with who's a sharp puncher, who's poised and can punch in between your punches. It's pointless. You don't need to punch in between punches when you're not punching. There's no punch coming because of how open you are. You dig what I'm saying? So I was never sold that he beat Keith Thurman. Like, it could possibly be a good fight, but I'm not sold that he beats Thurman. And this just really just makes me that much more convicted on my stance. Yeah, I'm tired. So, yeah, I'm not sold. I'm not sold. I have to go and watch the fight, man. But just off of what I'm hearing, because I haven't seen it yet. I'm trying to find the fights, but I can't find them. I'm sure it'll come up on Saturday on Showtime, but nah, bro. like nah. So that's Thurman, that's Ortiz. You're already saying that he's better than them. That's one thing, but to say that he's better than the champions was just kind of like, yo, how did we get here? What makes him better than the Spence? What makes him better than the Bud? Because they do they switch hit. They're able, they got good feet allegedly. They're able to do. They have similarities in style. But look at the comparison in competition. Bud had to go on the hunt against Cavalier-Vasquez, and Cavalier-Vasquez was walking him into traps, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Did he get dropped? Yeah. It didn't stop his forward motion. He wore that dude down and devastated him, brutalized him. So I'm not willing to say I was never one of them dudes who was convinced that Jaron Ennis was beating Bud. I'm like, no, I don't believe that. I think Virgil Ortiz is a better matchup for Bud than Boots Ennis. Y'all are going to learn that resume matters. Who you fight matters. You cannot get around that. And why can't you get around that? Because who you fight at the level that you fight them on, that is going to bring out your flaws and your deficiencies. And up until Saturday, he had yet to fight somebody who was capable of making him look pedestrian like that. He was yet to do it. You have to fight the stiff competition. And a fight between Ellis and Ennis doesn't seem too far out of the question now. Doesn't seem too far out of the question. I'm gonna make sure I watch all of these fights this weekend. But that fight doesn't seem too far out of the question now, man. I said it before, I'm not about to call Johnny Beck the boogeyman. I'm not about to do that. Just like I was damn sure not to, I never called Demetrius Andrade the boogeyman, because I never felt he was the boogeyman. I never felt he was the boogeyman. I felt he was a dude where people was just like, I don't give a fuck about Demetrius Andrade. I don't. I don't. Even though I think that's fucked up, because I think he's a quality opponent. But I understood people like, no, you ain't fought nobody. Like, why don't, no. The people that you have ducked have, Derevianchenko, Lara. They fought people. Zach Parker, he fought John Ryder and lost. The people that you have ducked and fought, they fought somebody of note. They fought somebody of note. So I was never the dude just, nah, man, he the boogeyman. No, I'm not giving him that. I'm not giving him that. And then goddamn, now we got Jaron Ennis, who's proved nothing, but he's being deemed the boogeyman, man. Like, let's stop that bullshit. I don't want to hear nothing else about Youngin being the boogeyman again. I don't. I think the kid is an incredible talent. I think he's going to be one of the best the sport has to offer. He just has to prove it. He just got to prove it, man. Don't talk that bullshit about him being the boogeyman. Don't nobody want to see him and this and that and the third, yada, yada, yada. As I stated before, man, chip away at your competition. Just because the people who you want to fight don't want to fight you doesn't mean nobody wants to fight you. Because looking at how Rashidi Ellis was barking, that is a dude who was like, you got me fucked up. Ain't nobody running from you, nigga. Looking at Rashidi Ellis, that's how I'm feeling about it. Rashidi Ellis look like he want that drama. Rashidi look like he want that drama. Stanley said, yeah, man, you ain't send me no offer. And then when they do, what is the offer? Nobody is saying these dudes are supposed to get $1 million purses. Nobody is saying that shit. But there's also a certain price point that they are accustomed to as professional pugilists. There's definitely that. There's definitely that. So match him with what it is that he usually makes, or a little bit less than that, but not anything specific, extremely less, because that's gonna be like, you got me fucked up. You're not trying to fight then. You're not trying to fight. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the person, what persons they was offering to do, but this isn't the first time that I've heard that, man, he was sending out bullshit. And I think that may be a part of their ploy. They'll send out bullshit offers so when a motherfucker camera gets in their face, they can say, yeah, man, he ain't want to fight. We offered him a fight, but he ain't want to fight. And they can ride, people usually, they gravitate towards the individual who's, they gravitate towards the individual who's buzzing right now, and Boots is buzzing. So if Boots is saying, yo, man, it would continue the narrative of him being a boogeyman and him being ducked. If he's saying that nobody wants to fight him, we sending out contracts, they not, they don't want to fight. They don't want no drama. It's easier to, to continue to perpetuate that narrative. He don't want to fight. He don't want to fight me. We sent him an offer. Didn't respond to the offer. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying, man, like, it could be that. And I'm feeling more and more like that's what it is. There's more smoke and mirrors over there on the PBC. It's more smoke and mirrors over there, even though he's not necessarily a PBC fighter. He's not necessarily a PBC fighter, but he is a Showtime fighter. He fights exclusively on Showtime. And it could be one of the situations where, man, if you want anything to do with my fighters, you're going to have to follow suit and play ball. And he could be trying to follow suit. So I don't know, man. I just, it's just a lot of gang goofy shit that's going on over there. And I think with him, he's probably, condoning that behavior because he wants to get, I got to get my hands on somebody. I don't think he's no scary nigga. I don't think he's no scary ass nigga. I honestly don't think that. I don't believe that at all. And with him wanting to prove that he's not no scary ass nigga, he'll go out and, he'll go out on a whim and say some bullshit. Like, don't nobody want to fight me. So I don't know, man. It's just, it's just smoke and mirrors over there with, on that side of the street. And I think he would, he's not above doing that because of who he wants to get in the ring and fight. So, nah, homie, I'm not believing it, man. I'm not believing it at all. So, all in all, my point is, man, just stop prematurely ordaining motherfuckers. Stop prematurely doing it. Because when the criticisms come, and they are gonna come if you do not perform up to par, motherfuckers ain't always able to take that shit. And in this situation, it ain't looking too good for him for right now. And like I said, people are short-sighted or and reactionary. So we're, all we can respond to is what happened in the now. So this fight is still fresh in people's, minds. So homeboy, it'll be a forgotten about thing in the next month and change. Maybe, maybe not. Depending on your opponent's selection, and especially how you perform against that opponent. This shit can be swept up under the rug. But the biggest takeaway from it is stop preordaining people boogeymen. So we don't have to deal with this sort of criticism, man. But I think the dude is an incredible talent, and I do think he's going to be one of them niggas. I honestly do. But he has to get back to the drawing board, and he has to keep his mouth shut. Him and his daddy, they got a little complacent with just running their mouth and talking about, no, that wasn't him. They got real complacent and lippy with, just saying the shit that they were saying. Oh man, he don't want to fight us and this and that and the third. Just don't say nothing, because now y'all look bad. Just get in the gym and fix everything that he needed to be fixed from that fight. Get in there and start working on that. And that's what it is, man. That's pretty much all I gotta say about it, man. Shout out to Youngin. Fuck, I'm tired. Shout out to Youngin. He'll be alright, man. He'll get through it, and we on to the next one, man. Deuces.